Hello, Assalamu alaikum, Namaste, and a very good morning. Students, we have already started the chapter The Circulatory System, and in the previous classes, previous notes, we have discussed about the general introduction to circulatory system. I told you about the blood in the previous classes as well. Let me get you a little bit of a flashback that the blood is composed of two main components, the liquid part, which is called the plasma, and the cellular components are also present in the blood. So basically, blood is composed of two things, the liquid part called plasma and the cellular components. Now basically, there are three different kinds of cellular components present in the blood. They are the red blood cells, also called the erythrocytes, the white blood cells called the leukocytes, and the blood platelets. I think we have discussed about the red blood cell. I'll give you a short introduction to white blood cells and the platelets. So I hope you are going to listen to me properly and going to understand what I say. White blood cells or leukocytes. These white blood cells can be properly called the white cells rather than the white blood cells. Now, why is it that they would be called white cells rather than the white blood cells? Because they spend most of their time in the tissue fluid. They spend most of their time in the tissue fluid. The white blood cells, as compared to the red blood cells, are fewer in number. Per cubic millimeter of blood consists of 4,000 to 8,000 white blood cells, and these white blood cells basically are responsible for the protective function of the body. When I say protective function of the body, what do we understand by protective function of the body? Basically, the white cells or the white blood cells, as you say, actually prepare antibodies which fight the disease causing germs that inhibit our body or that enter our body, like that of bacteria. They perform a process which is called phagocytosis. That means they engulf the bacteria, the germ substance, and detoxicate it. The white blood cells have a special ability to squeeze out through the blood vessels, and reach the target site where it is required to perform its function. This process is called diapetesis. You might be knowing that an abnormal increase in the number of white blood cells in the blood basically leads to a disease which is called leukemia. You also know it by the name blood cancer, right? So leukemia is a disease which is actually caused due to the abnormal increase in the number of white blood cells in the body, and the treatment of leukemia so far is only blood transfusion. At the same time, an abnormal decrease in the white blood cells of the body also leads to a disease which is called leukopenia. Now, you need to go through all these things from your chapter. I hope you will be able to understand. Now, coming to platelets. Actually, these platelets are minute oval or round kind of a structure which do not have a nucleus, and they are probably 2 lakhs to 4 lakhs in number per cubic millimeter of blood. What I mean to say that per cubic millimeter of blood contains, per cubic millimeter of blood contains 2 lakh to 4 lakh blood platelets. Now, these blood platelets are actually derived from the, you can say, mega cells of the body, or you can say the giant cells of the body, which are called megakaryocytes. Okay, and they have a lifespan of 3 to 5 days in the body. They are destroyed in the spleen. Spleen, you already know, is a lymphatic organ which is located in the abdomen. So they get destroyed in the spleen. Now, these blood platelets, they perform a very important function which is called blood clotting. I'll tell you what blood clotting is. Suppose we get a cut in our body and in any portion of the body, and the blood oozes out of the body, right? Now, had there been no blood platelets in the body, the blood will profusely come out without getting clot, and this might lead to the death of that person. In that case, nature has built us in such a way that our blood consists of a special component, cellular component, which is called the blood platelets or thrombocytes. These thrombocytes are actually responsible for blood clotting. What happens during blood clot? When there is a cut, the injured cells basically of the body uh, starts degenerating the blood platelets. The blood platelets gets degenerated and actually changes itself into a substance called thrombokinase. Please remember, thrombokinase. This is also known as thromboplastin or the X factor. Right now, this thrombokinase, which is prepared initially with the help of enzymes, converts a substance called prothrombin into thrombin. Thrombokinase converts prothrombin into thrombin with the help of enzymes. Okay, now basically vitamin K, you might have heard about vitamin K, which is a fat soluble vitamin, and it is actually essential for the production of prothrombin in the body. So prothrombin is produced with the help of vitamin K in the body, and this prothrombin is actually converted into thrombin with the help of thrombokinase, as I told you. Now what happens? This thrombin, which is produced from prothrombin, now acts with the help of an enzyme and in the presence of calcium ions to convert the soluble fibrinogen into fibrin. Soluble fibrinogen into fibrin. Now this fibrin basically becomes a very messy and thread kind of a structure which surrounds the injured part or the part which is cut, and then it gets clot there. So this is how blood gets clot. You might be wondering that blood basically gets clot when it is exposed to air, right? Now blood doesn't get clot only when it is exposed to air. The blood might get clot inside our body as well when the blood moves through some rough surfaces. Rough surfaces in the sense there are certain areas in the body which actually gets deposited with cholesterol, right? You have heard about cholesterol in TV advertisements, that it reduces the cholesterol, certain kinds of oils and other things. So when cholesterol deposit takes place in the blood vessels, what happens? The blood actually passes through those areas. Those are rough surfaces. And in those rough surfaces, when the blood passes through, there is every possibility for blood clot to form. Okay, and the rest of the details you can easily get from the chapter if you go through. I hope you have understood in short about white blood cells, about the blood platelets, and how the blood gets clot. In our next class, we will be discussing about the rest of the chapter. For example, we are left with the blood group system, so we will be continuing with that. Thank you so much. Till then, take care and have a lovely day.